Hello students, this is Shimelis. For today I've come up with topic teens, which is for grade 10. So in this discussion we're going to see the word of teens, we'll see types of teens and uses of teens, and at the end we'll see forms of the tenses. Here we go. First, teens. Well, so far there is no such exact definition for teens, but whatever action we do, it is associated to time. So when we raise actions with their time, we call it as teens. So the most usual definition for teens is it is a time for an action, okay? Time of an action. So every action is associated to time. So in English we have 3 time intervals. We have 3 time intervals. The first one is the present tense. The second one is past tense. And the last one is future tense. So for today we'll only see or focus on present tense. Past and future we'll see some other time. For today we'll see present tense. So what kind of actions are described using present tense? That's our today's focus. So generally, actions which happen currently or at this time are termed to be a present tense or expressed by present tense. But we have subtenses under present tense. We have subtenses like simple present tense, okay? The simple present tense. We have present continuous. We have present perfect, and the last subtense under present tense is present perfect tense. Present perfect, okay? Present perfect and present perfect continuous. Okay, present perfect continuous. These are the 4 subtenses. Okay, simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous tense. Now let's see one by one. Okay, first let's see only simple present tense. What kind of actions are expressed using simple present tense? So first, let's see the uses of present tense. The uses of present simple. Okay, we can use present tense for some actions. The first one, which we always raise, is a simple present tense. The principal use of simple present tense is to express short or acute actions in present. Okay, short actions, okay, short or acute actions in present in general are expressed using simple present tense. This is the first and the principal use of present simple. And the second use of present simple is to express habits in present. Okay, expresses habits in present. Okay, habits in present. That's the second use of simple present tense. The other use of simple present tense, we can use simple present tense to express pre-planned future actions. Okay, to express pre-planned future actions, like travel schedules. Okay, travel schedules are categorized under this group because they are pre-planned actions. Okay, so different kinds of schedules, programs, arrangements. Okay, the other case that we can use as simple present tense for is for future arrangements in general. So generally for pre-planned but future actions, we can use simple present tense. So the next thing would be the form of simple present tense. The form or the structure of simple present tense. What does the simple present tense sentence looks like? As a sentence, it should have a subject and the main verb becomes the first form of the verb. Okay, this as a sentence, every sentence should have at least a subject and a verb to be called a complete sentence. Depending on the nature of the verb or depending on how the verb is used, we might have an object. Okay, we might have an object. So the existence of objects bases on the type or how the verb is used. If the verb is used transitively, a transitive verb is always followed by an object. And if the verb is used intransitively, we don't use an object, but we might have a complement that completes the meaning of the verb. But the existence of object, as I said, depends on the transitivity of the verb. Okay, but as a sentence, it should have at least these two elements: subject and verb. And this time again, with third-person singulars, he, she, and it, we take the first form of the verb and we add s or es to the end of the verb to indicate that the action is simple and the subject is singular. Okay, and with first person singular I and plural we and second person plural you and third person plural they, we take the first form of the verb without any suffix s or es, because these are a plural subject except the first person person pronoun I. The rest are plural subject, so we don't add s or es at the end of the sentence. Now let's see some example sentences. Okay, let's see some example sentences. Salam goes to school every day. Salam goes to school every day. So this action shows that it is happening repeatedly, so it's a kind of habit. Okay, it's a kind of habitual action because this action is done every day, so it is repeated and a habit action. But if you say Salam leaves for say US next Saturday. Now, if you see this sentence, this is an action which is yet to happen in the on Saturday, but as you can see, the main verb is stated in simple present tense, which shows that this is a pre-planned but future action. So the time phrase which says next Saturday indicates that the action is going to happen on next Saturday, but we use simple present tense verb to express so because it is a pre-planned future action. Okay, so for pre-planned future action we can use simple present tense. Okay, simple present tense. Or you might say Salam reads stories Salam read stories. Now this is a simple or a short action happening now. The other function, maybe the other use of simple present tense, which is the fourth use of simple present tense, is to express, or it is a medium of language. Okay, simple present tense can serve as means of communication, okay, it is means of communication, or it is a medium of language in almost all discussions. So if you see, for example, sport commentator and journalists, the medium language that they use is mostly simple present tense. Okay, the medium of language they use is simple present. Even at this time, at this particular time, the medium of language I am using to explain the topic itself is simple present tense. Okay, so simple present tense is a medium of communication. Okay, it's a medium of communication. If you observe, carefully listen, commentators in the sport, even they may say he kicks the ball, crosses the ball, passes the ball. So kicks, crosses the ball, passes the ball. All these verbs are in simple present tense, unless and otherwise the commentator talks about the back history of the player, or the history of the player in general. The main language that the commentator uses to report the sport event is simple present tense. So this is a very basic use which we practice in our daily language. Okay, so it is a means of communication. So with this, we wondered about simple present tense. Okay, the next tense type under present tense is present continuous tense. Okay, present continuous tense. So what are the uses of present continuous tense? Okay, what are the uses of present continuous tense? These are the points which we are going to see. That's the second type of present tense, continuous tense. Okay, present continuous tense. So present continuous tense, the first, let's see its uses of present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is used to express, okay, is used to express actions which are taking place as we speak. This is the first case that we can use present continuous tense for, to express an action which is taking place as we speak, which is going on at the moment of speaking. This is the principal use of present continuous tense, to express actions taking place at the moment of speaking. And the second function, or the second use of present continuous tense, is not necessarily actions which are taking place as we speak or at the moment of speaking, but actions in general which are in progress, okay, in general are expressed using continuous tense. Okay, it is used to express progressive actions. Okay, progressive actions in general. Okay, progressive actions, or actions which are always in motion. Okay, actions which are in motion or already in progress. Okay, already in progress, or we can say incomplete actions. Okay, incomplete actions in present. Okay, incomplete actions in present can be expressed using present continuous tense. The other function might be, okay, the other function or the other case that we might use present continuous tense for is to describe future action. This time, this future action must be a near future action. Okay, so it is used to express. It is used to express near future actions. If you remember in our discussion of present simple tense, we also say a present simple also expresses a future action, but a pre-planned future action. But in the case of present continuous tense, the future action must be a near future action. Not general future actions, but actions which will recently or a nearly happening in the future should be expressed or are expressed using present continuous tense. In this case, we can use, there is a special form of verb which we mostly use is going to with the first form of the verb mostly used. But it is also possible to use the regular continuous tense structure with some time phrase or time indicators to express a near future action. And the last function might be of present continuous tense is to express a future arrangement. Okay, it is used to express future arrangements. Okay, future arrangements. This is the other function or the last function of present continuous tense in your, according to your left. Okay, so present continuous tense has about 4 uses or 4 cases that we can use present continuous tense for. Now the next part will be the form of present continuous tense. What does a present continuous tense sentence looks like? Okay, so we'll see the structure of present continuous tense. Okay, the structure of present continuous tense. So the form or structure of present continuous tense. So present continuous tense would have, as a sentence, as usual, it should have a subject. Because it is continuous tense, this time it will have auxiliary verb to be. We use auxiliary verb to be am with first person singular I, and is with third person singular he, she, it, and are with the rest pronouns, plural pronouns. So the main verb would be in its verb ing form. Okay, and as usual, depending on the nature of the verb or how the verb is used, we might use objects. So as you can see, I put optional structures in a square bracket, so it shows they are not obligatories. We might find them or we might see objects there depending on the verb. That's why I put it in a square bracket. So the structure, in grammar structure, everything that is placed under a square bracket is optional structure. It's not obligatory structure. So the obligatory ones are up to this point. Okay, this is the obligatory structure, but the one which is placed in the square bracket is not obligatory but optional structure. Okay, optional structure. So here, as I said, with first person singular subject I, we use am, and is, we use it with third person singulars he, she, and its. Okay, with these pronouns we use is, and the main verb becomes verb ing. And with first person plural we, second person singular and plural you, third person they, okay, plural they, we use are, and the main verb becomes verb ing. So these are the structures that we need to follow for continuous tense. Okay, with continuous tense. Now let's see some examples. I might say, I am watching TV. I'm watching TV. So I'm watching. This action is happening as the speaker is speaking about it. Okay. But if you compare this sentence with this one, I am reading a novel. Now compare these two sentences. The first action is an action which is taking place as we speak. But the second action, reading, is not necessarily happening as we speak about it, but it is an action which is already in progress, already in motion. The person might be maybe on chapter 2 or chapter 4. He hasn't or she hasn't yet done reading, so he or she is still reading the novel, but doesn't mean as he or she speaks about it. So this action started sometime in maybe in past, and it is still going on. Okay, it is still going on. So it's a current action. It's a progressive action. So this is a typical example for progressive action. Okay, this is a progressive or incomplete action. Whereas this is at the time of speaking. Okay, at the moment. Okay. This is a kind of action happening at the moment, whereas this is a type of action which is in progress, okay, which is in motion, hasn't yet completed, okay, hasn't yet completed. For the rest, let's see some more examples to express a near future action plus arrangements, okay. Let's add some more 2 or 3 sentences as an example, okay. Let's add some more examples. You might say, I'm going to visit my uncle after an hour. I am going to. You see? I am going to visit. I am going to visit my uncle after an hour. So this is a future action, but it is a near future action. Okay, it is a near future action, which is going to happen within an hour. Okay, most probably, if we say a near future action, it has to be taking place within 24 hours, mostly. Okay, within 24 hours. So if the action is happening within 24 hours, we can use present continuous tense to express so. Okay, to express so. So with going to and the first form of the verb, as you can see, we can express a near future action. We can also use the regular continuous tense form to express a future action. Okay, to express a future action. It would be mostly arrangement. Okay, let's see. My wife is preparing. My wife is preparing, say, dinner for tonight. Dinner for tonight. So my wife is preparing. As you can see, this is a present continuous tense verb, but it is used to express a near future action, plus it is like a future arrangement because it says tonight. It's like an arrangement, okay? It's a future arrangement. My wife is preparing dinner for tonight. So such actions are either near future actions or they are future arrangements, okay? They are future arrangements. Now let's see the third subtense type, the third present tense type, which is present perfect, okay? Present perfect. Okay, the third subtense type, is present perfect. Present perfect. This is a very complex one if you don't carefully follow, because mostly it is students usually associate these things with past tense, but it is not a past tense. As you can see, it is a present tense, but it is in its one leg is in past, the other leg is in present. So in two places, it is in present plus in past. Okay, it is in past and in present in both cases. So one of the cases, or one of the uses of present perfect tense, is to express nearly completed actions. Okay, it is used to express recently completed action. This is one of the cases that we might use present perfect for, to express recently completed actions. Okay, recently completed action. The other case that we might use present perfect for is to express an action which has started sometime in the past and comes up to the present. Okay, expresses, okay, a present perfect tense expresses an action which has started sometime in the past and comes up to the present. Okay, up to the present. So it is in the past as well as in the present. Okay, and most of the time we say here when a past action affects the present situation. Okay, when a past action in general, okay, when a past action affects the present situation, we use present perfect tense, okay, for past actions but affecting the current situation. Here, let me give you an instance example. Okay, let's say you are driving from home to school. Okay, let's say you are driving from home to school. Okay, from home to school. Your objective is to get to school. Okay, to get to school. But in the middle of your way, a traffic policeman stopped you and asked you to show him your driving license. That is here. Okay, here in the middle of your way to school, a traffic policeman stopped you and asked you to show him your driving license. So you are here talking to the traffic policeman. You have already left home and currently talking to a traffic policeman. You haven't yet arrived at school. So what do you reply to the traffic policeman? Will you say, I forgot my driving license, or I have forgotten my driving license? Let me redraw the diagram here above, okay? Let me redraw it here. So you are, now we are talking about present perfect, don't forget. We are talking about present perfect. You were at home. You were driving from home to school. Okay, you were driving from home to school, and in the middle of your way, okay, in the middle of your way, a traffic policeman stopped you and asked you to show him your driving license. You have no driving license at your hand. So what do you answer to the traffic policeman? Will you say, I forgot my driving license, or you would say, I have forgotten my driving license. So which sentence would you reply to the traffic policeman? Imagine you have no driving license at your hand, you are here talking to the traffic policeman. So what do you answer? Would you say, I forgot my driving license, or I have forgotten my driving license? Well, definitely it is the second one that you should reply, okay? You should reply the second one, not the first one. If you answer the first one, it is past tense, has nothing to do with present tense. So the action of forgetting has started and completed here, okay? The action of forgetting is done at home. Now you are talking to the traffic policeman and you have no driving license. Would the traffic policeman say, okay, you have no driving license, go ahead? He wouldn't say like that, because as a driver you should have a driving license at your hand all the time whenever you drive. So the result of forgetting, okay, would cause you for penalty. So he's going to write a penalty sheet because you have no driving license at your hand. So to show that the past action is affecting your current situation, you use present perfect tense. Present perfect tense. So the use of present perfect is to show a past action affecting the present situation. Now, if you have to put this in time interval, home is past because you have already left home. And the time that you are talking to the traffic policeman is the present time, because currently you are with the traffic policeman talking. Have you arrived at school? No, you haven't yet arrived at school. So that is a future action. Your objective is to get to school, but you haven't arrived at school. You are in the middle of your way talking to the traffic policeman because of forgetting your driving license, and he's going to penalize you. That's the effect of a past action. So when a past action affects a present situation, we use present perfect tense. I think this is all. Now let's see the form of present perfect tense. And as you can see, or as you have seen from the second sentence, the structure or the form of present perfect, the form or the structure of present perfect is to use, of course, as a sentence, it would have a subject, and this time a perfect marker or auxiliary verb. We use has or have, okay? Has with singular subjects, have with plural subject, except the first person singular I, and the main verb would be it's in past participle, okay? We use the third form of the verb, and as usual, depending on the verb, we might include an object, okay? We might include an object. So these are the obligatory rules. Up to this point, these are obligatory. As usual, as I told you, a structure which is placed in a square bracket is optional. So as a sentence, it would have a subject, auxiliary verb has with singular subjects, have with plural subjects. So with he, she, and it, we use has, okay, and the third form of the verb, with exceptionally first person singular I, first person plural we, second person singular and plural you, and third person they. We use have as an auxiliary verb, and the main verb stays in past participle form. So this is the structure of present perfect. Okay, this is the structure of present perfect. Now let's see some one or two examples. We have already seen one example, and let me add one or two more examples and wind up this discussion and go to present perfect continuous tense as the last subtense under present tense. Okay, so you might say, I have studied economics. So when you say this, I have studied economics, you mean that this time you have some know-how of economics. You have some background of economics. So as you can see, we have used have as an auxiliary verb, and the main verb is in past participle. Okay, let's add one more. She has brought her exercise. She has brought her exercise book. So has brought is a perfect action. Now currently at this time her exercise book is with her. Or you might say, I have just eaten. So if someone asks you after you have already had a dinner or a breakfast or a lunch, you might say, I have just eaten, which means this is a recently completed action, okay, recently completed action, and whose effect is still going on. So for an actions which happened in the past but whose effect is still going on, we use present perfect. So with this, we wind up our discussion of present perfect and move to the next subtense type, which is present perfect continuous tense. Okay, let's move to present perfect continuous tense. The last subtense under present tense, which is our last discussion, is present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous. Like present perfect tense, present perfect continuous tense also expresses an action which has started sometime in the past and which comes up to the present, or an action which has happened in the past but whose effect is still going on. Okay, so they have the same use. Have or has the same use as present perfect. Okay, the same use as present perfect. So the difference is the time duration that it takes place. Okay, the difference is the time duration, the time or duration that it takes place, that it takes, or that the action takes. So in the case of present perfect continuous tense, the action takes a longer duration or a longer time. Okay, it takes longer duration, okay, longer time or longer duration. This is a difference. The other difference is by their structure. Okay, the structure or the form of present perfect continuous tense is this. We use subjects as a sentence and has or have as an auxiliary verb marker. And this time, because it is a continuous tense or progressive tense, we use verb to be, or the perfect form of verb to be, which is being, and the main verb is staying in verb ing, and as usual we might add objects as optional. So this is the structure of present perfect continuous tense. Okay, this is the structure of present perfect continuous tense. So unless by its formation plus the action takes a longer duration, the concept of present perfect and present perfect continuous tense is almost the same. Both express actions which happened in the past and whose effect is still going on, or an action which has started in the past and comes up to the present. In the case of continuous tense, okay, present perfect continuous tense, an action might start from past and comes up to present, okay, up to present, and it might continue to the future. Okay, it might continue to the future. That's the case with present perfect continuous tense. Otherwise, they have the same concept. And as you have seen, the structure is a little bit different from the present perfect. Okay, this is it. If you have any question, comments, put some down below in the comment line. Bye for now.